So what do you do with camp?
We have a really popular vet team. So they are intro vet kids are learning all about body systems. We kind of use ourselves as a model because we're not different from pets and dogs and horses and things. And so they learn about how the systems work and make models, and we do experiments, and they get real working stethoscopes, which we sometimes go through the animal's harness. And then we have different models that they practice during surgery. It's really cool.
Like a free vet?
Pretty much.
Cool.
I would say something like that. I want to do that.
Two of them. That's going on. This is going on.
That's the only one in the state. We're trying to open one in Stoneburg, Long Island.
And that's a very long time ago. It's really fascinating. I mean, like the horse's teeth and the age of the horse.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo. Good to see you all here today on this Memorial Day weekend with the marathon barring the way, all the way here. So all of you brave souls who either walked or found your way through the barricades in other ways so that the runners can run through this lovely warm day, kudos to yous. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Joan Montagnes, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving you, this congregation. It is fantastic to be together. It is good to be together to remember, to be in community in this sacred space that we create when we gather. When we gather here, we do acknowledge that we gather upon the land which was the original territories, is the original territory of the Haudenosaunee people, original nations of this land, who continue to call for justice and self-determination. And in this congregation, we encourage everyone to get their vaccinations and booster shots for COVID-19 or against COVID-19, as the case may be. And we wear our masks over our nose and our mouth because we care for ourselves and each other. I am going to make a special invitation to everybody to the Parish Hall after the service to have a look at our shrine that we have created for all of our beloved dead. And also there are goodie bags left over or continuing, shall we say continuing, on the celebration of life of Beryl Smith, which we began yesterday. So welcome everyone. I think is that all? Oh, 2 weeks from now, I should probably talk about this. 2 weeks from now, I believe we're gonna have the auction, right? Yes, there's Julie nodding her head. The auction is coming. It is going to be full of fun and fellowship and groovy items that you need in your life, especially people. So lots of fun things to bid on. Remember, all the proceeds go to a very good cause, which you must love because you're here on a gorgeous day in the middle of a marathon. So come early, bid often. It's going to be online, it's going to be in person, there's going to be dinners, there's going to be stuff, there's going to be services, there's going to be art, there's just all sorts of fabulous stuff that's in the catalog, which will be coming out when? On Tuesday. So you want to get into the auction and get into it big time. So welcome everybody, great to be together. And I think that's really all I gotta say. So, big breath together, and let it out. And let's prepare ourselves for worship.
This morning's call to worship is We Gather to Remember by Nicole McKay. We gather to remember those who could not grow old and those forced to grow old long before their time. We gather to mourn and grieve with one another all of our losses, the people, the stories, the loved ones, and the futures that could have been. We gather to do the hard work of facing the difficult realities of our present and our past. Where there is conflict, violence, war, and hatred, we gather to hold space for silence as we try to make meaning of our history to help us work for peace and justice today. We gather to rekindle our source of hope for our future by recognizing in one another our shared humanity as we join in a concerted commitment for a better tomorrow. We gather because we need community to do all of this holy work. Each Sunday, all of us gathered here and gathered across the world, thousands of Unitarian Universalists, we light a chalice, the symbol of our free faith. Please rise as you're willing and able and speak the words of our lighting. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves to create a more just and compassionate world.
Let's join in singing hymn number 101 in your teal hymnal, Breaths.
1,000.
What did I say, 101? Sorry, throw an extra one in the middle, a zero in the middle. 1001.
Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the flyer's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the wailing child. They are with us in our homes. They are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters.
Once upon a time, there was a house up on a hill, and that house was worried. I'm a house. People are supposed to live in me, but no one does. I wonder what's wrong with me. I don't know. Maybe I'm haunted. Maybe I'm haunted. Maybe that's why nobody wants to live in a haunted house. Well, perhaps if I am very well behaved and I stay very still, then my doors won't creak. And if I stay very quiet, then my stairs won't squeak, squeak, squeak. And if I stay very calm, maybe then my pipes won't go bang, 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 bang in the night. Oh, this isn't working. I'm going to have to try even harder, she said after making all of those noises. And so the little house held her breath. And she kept very still and very calm and very quiet. And she was almost doing it. She was almost being as non-haunted as she could, even though there was dust and cobwebs everywhere. And then the wind blew up. And it started out very calm. Rustle, rustle, rustle. And then the trees began to hit the windows. Scratch, scratch, scratch. And as the wind grew, the house found she was shaking from her own foundations with a groan. And then a gust of wind went through her attic and let out a howl. Wow, said the house. That was fun. I don't want to be a quiet house. I don't want to be still. I don't want to be calm. I guess if I'm going to be a haunted house, I need to find people who will make me a haunted home. And then they came. They started coming up the hill. And they were dressed in memories and tears and laughter. And they were carrying bags and knapsacks and suitcases packed with old resentments and secrets and hopes and dreams. And they were covered in scars and growth marks and love and more love. And they made themselves at home, these ghosts, in the house. And that little house on the hill was very happy to be haunted.
Every week, we take a good portion of our Sunday morning offering and give it away to a social justice cause outside of our church walls. This month, we are supporting the good work of Save the Michaels. Save the Michaels raises awareness of prescription and other drug addictions. Abuse and misuse of these controlled substances leads to serious illness, depression, deaths from overdose and suicide, and the devastation of caregivers and loved ones. Save the Michaels House of Hope and Community Resources offers wraparound support to addicted individuals and their families through the journey into remission. To support our Share the Plate ministry, you can use PayPal by going to our website, www.buffalouu.org, and clicking on the blue Donate button. Or you can send a check by mail to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, 695 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14222. You can also arrange a regular automatic deposit with your bank. If yours is a gift to our Share the Plate ministry, please write "Share" on the memo on the memo line, and it will be shared between Save the Michaels and the church operating budget. If yours is a welcome gift to our congregation, please write "Pledge 2022" on the memo line. Either way, please write UUCB on the important line. Thank you for your generosity.
May we have safe passage, safe, safe passage. May we have safe passage, safe passage on our way. Safe passage on your way, brother. Safe passage on your way, sister. Safe passage on your way, sweet children. Safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage. Safe, safe passage. May we have safe passage. Safe passage on our way. Safe passage on your way, brother. Safe passage on your way, sister. Safe passage on your way, sweet children. Safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage. Safe, safe passage. May we have safe passage. Safe passage on our way. Safe passage on your way, brother. Safe passage on your way, sister. Safe passage on your way, sweet children. Safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage. Safe, safe passage. May we have safe passage. Safe passage on our way.
This morning's reading is called The Gift of Remembrance by George Tiger. I met Scott's father a year after he was killed. It was a pilgrimage for me. I drove 1,000 miles, every moment wondering if he'd see me as a symbol of a system that had taken his son. When he and his wife met me in their front yard, Mike and I hugged tightly for too short an eternity. As an Army chaplain and therapist, I understand the spiritual, psychological, and physiological foundations of trauma. I can talk for hours about how the body keeps the score, about vagus nerve response, about the flight, fight, or freeze mechanism. I can reflect with you about the spiritual meaning of loss, of grief, and of suffering, how they fit in your life, and how they can burden the soul if held too tightly. I understand all this, yet not a day goes by when something doesn't bring to mind a young life now gone. Ghosts of what might have been are my everyday companions. I will not let them go, for I fear if I do that I will forget. I'm greeted when least expected with waves of unbidden grief. A tightness in the throat, vision blurred a bit by welling tears, a little tremor in my hand, all things that remind me that I cannot, I will not forget. How many children lost? How many parents grieve? These memories, these ghosts, are necessary reminders of the futility of war and the desperate need for peace in our world. The memories which come upon me not as thoughts, but as bodily sensations, have deepened my compassion and steeled commitment to bringing peace to the suffering world. I serve in the U.S. Army. I support the readiness of those who have and will fight and win the wars our civilian leaders call us to fight. I love the people I am called to serve, knowing full well the dreadful reality we will one day face again. How then can I speak of peace? This is the difficulty of a holiday like Memorial Day. Memorial Day is not to be celebrated. It is to be observed, scrutinized, and witnessed on behalf of the true witnesses of our human failure to love our neighbor as ourselves. They are ghosts now, haunting lives with the gift of remembrance, so that we will not forget their living, but even more, that the grief of remembering will create in us a yearning for peace that will stir us to action.
Let us join our hearts and minds in a quiet moment of prayer, reflection, and meditation. Spirit of memory, mourning, and history, bring before us the truths of serving in war. Bring before us in compassion and in gratitude the truth of violence everywhere, in our homes, in our community, in this nation, and around the globe. Spirit of life and love, bring before us the survivors and the dead and the memories and the ghosts, so we may wholeheartedly rededicate ourselves to peace. Today we especially hold in our hearts Caitlin Steinberg, who is recovering from her second bout of COVID. She welcomes cards. And now let us open our sanctuary of memory, carrying accountability and hope to the names of all our loved ones suffering in sorrow and celebrating in joy, each name a breath, each breath a prayer.
Shashula married yesterday.
The breath of nature is upon us. The spirit of life is within us. The community of love is among us. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen. For the last, I don't know how many years, I would walk past that corner at Elmwood and Allen, and if the weather wasn't too cold or too rainy, the air would be filled with bubbles cascading down onto the street below. And sometimes on really fine days, the bubbles would float all the way from 2 blocks away into my backyard and even beyond. For years, I enjoyed those bubbles, and I never thought to wonder who was making them. Until one day, I looked up to find the source, and I saw, well, nothing. I didn't see anything. I saw an apartment window, and in that window was a fan and the bubbles flowing out of the window. Whoever was blowing the bubbles was setting them free without a concern on who he was blessing, which somehow imbued the bubbles with even more grace than I had thought. But from that day on, when I saw the bubbles, I did look up. And one time, when I hadn't seen the bubbles for a long time, weeks, I looked up anyway. And I was afraid that they had really stopped forever, but I looked up anywhere, and there, half hanging out of the window, grinning from ear to ear, covered in long hair and a big scraggy beard, was the Bubble Man himself. And I waved wildly, and he waved wildly back. And I blew him a kiss, and I said, "I've missed you." And he just kept on wildly waving. And then a few months later, the bubble stopped again. Chuck Incor, and I'm going to butcher this name, Chuck Incorvea, I think. The Bubble Man died on January 17th of this year, and I miss him. And I know, once again, I am not alone. But you know, the other night, I was walking through the neighborhood, and bubbles were spilling out onto the Allentown air again. Someone had taken up the magic wand. Blessings of grace continue to rain down upon us with memory and love. Not a day goes by when something doesn't bring to mind a life now gone. Ghosts of what might have been, what was, our everyday companions. Letting go, forgetting, it's just not an option, is it? We're bound to those who went before us. We are bound by love. And if we try to let them go, we will lose part of life forever. We will lose our shared memory, our shared history, and our future. If we forget, we will lose ourselves. If we try to forget, if we try to let go, the wind will blow, scratching at the windows, reminding us that the house is haunted, and we can't escape it. Life is so short, brief as leaves of grass. We hug our dearest ones tightly while they live, and not tightly enough for so short an eternity. And then they're gone. One worries whether the heaviness of our grief could ever overburden or even injure the soul. So we try to be still, be quiet, be calm, be stoic, stiff upper lip. Don't feel so much. But you can't hold your breath forever. In our pain we howl, and our very foundations groan. The house is haunted, and we can't escape. And so we are greeted. Sometimes when we least expect it, we are greeted with waves of unbidden grief. Sometimes guilt too. New waves of grief every day. One goodbye after another, a beloved's illness and then death, a war gone from horribly wrong to an unimaginably horrible worse, a mass shooting, unbearable in the hate, followed on the heels, another one coming right on the heels, a mass shooting of children in their classrooms. Waves of grief, tightness in the throat, vision blurred by welling tears, a little tremor in hand and heart. All signs that remind us that we will not, we cannot forget. The house is haunted. It will not be still. It will not be quiet. It will not be calm. The winds will blow and rattle the windows and our pipes. So, my best beloveds, since the house is haunted with ghosts of our past and ghosts of our present, I ask you, what would happen if we didn't try to resist them? What if we welcomed the ghosts inside? What if we stopped resisting? Invite the ghosts in. Tell them, make yourself at home. Welcome them in, and they will come, dressed in tears and laughter and memory, carrying with them old resentments and secrets and hopes and gifts. And their bodies will be covered in scars and growth marks and love and more love. Welcome your ghosts. Invite them inside. Give them a home, your home. For these ghosts are not strangers. They are our loved ones. And they are us. We're simply bodies wearing the breath of our ancestors. They blow in and through our lives, through our memories, until one day we return to dust from which we emerged, and all this love gathers again in a place where grief and joy don't matter. Thornton Wilder reminds us in his book, The Bridge of St. Louis Ray, soon we shall die, and all memories of our dead will have left the earth, and we ourselves shall be loved for a while and forgotten. But the love will have been enough. All those impulses of love return to the love that made them. Even memory is not necessary for love. There is a land of the living and a land of the dead, and the bridge is love, the only survival, the only meaning. Do you want to bring that microphone up? Thanks. And so now let us welcome the dead. Let us welcome all our beloved ghosts into our haunted house. Let us bring them into this sacred space and sacred time, this sanctuary of memory, caring, accountability, and hope. This year in our congregation, we mourn the loss of Georgia Pooley, George Block, Beck Brown, Carol Condon, Robbie Butler, Nancy Bucati, Ingeborg Barris, James McGavern, Barbara Little, and Beryl Smith. We also light a candle for the 10 people killed at Tops on May 14th. And another for the 21 victims in Uvalde, Texas. I invite you now to take this time to remember together. Come forward, if you will, and light a candle. Share the name of your loved one of blessed memory. Bring their names into this place made holy by our gathering, because it is good to remember together. And these loved ones of blessed memory need not have died this year. They are the ghosts which haunt us right now.
My mother, Jean Peterson, let me see your face.
For Peter Hassett, my beloved husband.
Jim Kiefer, my husband.
Mama Pete Harley Hart.
For Douglas Besant, who passed away February 16th, 2021.
Linda Nicolai. Jean Pesico, Angela Pesico, and Chester Nijelowski.
Luis de la Fuente.
John Lewis Burgess, my older brother.
Anthony Capizzi and Dean Rogers.
My little cousin, Joseph Allen.
My mom, Kathleen, her brother, Jim, my Aunt Mary Lou, and all who died during quarantine, and all who passed away from COVID.
My mother-in-law, Sandra Louise Gehrig.
For my parents, Pat and Tom Mitchell, and all the people that have died in Ukraine and in Russians and Ukrainians themselves.
May our hearts, our homes, and the world be haunted by these ghosts, these beloved that are our everyday companions, dressed in tears and laughter and memory, carrying with them old resentments and gifts and secrets and hopes, covered in scars and growth marks and love and more love. We will not let them go, for in holding on, our lives and the lives of our descendants will have greater promise in their fulfillment. So be it, blessed be, and let the church say, Amen. Let's join in singing 1051 in your teal hymnal, We Are.
We're going to do the 2 repeats in the beginning and the 2 repeats at the end, but no repeats in the middle. It's too long.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions with faith and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Now let's extinguish the flame. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
I just want to quickly add some quick music credits. First of all, choir, thank you. Thank you for safe passage. That was my request. And thank you also for the everybody on staff. Jesse is out sick, and Chris is getting married, and the sound guys managed to get the play going for our, what was the one? Going Home. And so there was a lot of moving parts that had to happen at the last moment, and thank you. Thank you, thank you. So, together, our grief is a holy thing. It is proof that life calls out to life. It is a mark of love. It is a mark of our connections to one another. Remember, you are a blessing. Remember that you are blessed. And above all else, remember, you're not alone. You are never alone. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen.